Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
Please tell us, how did you get into Local First Arizona, and tell us about some of the projects that you're working on right now.
sure. I've been with Local First Arizona for 6 years. We've been an organization for 16 years. When I joined Local First, we were a team of about six, representing about 17 or 1,800 businesses across the state of Arizona. One unique thing about us is, unlike many of the other local business coalitions that exist, we're the only statewide coalition. So we oversee businesses in rural and urban communities across our entire state, which is a very wide area. Today we have about 35 staff working across every area of our state on a vast array of programs and resources for local economy work. Everything from just basically providing resources and information and advocacy for small businesses in Arizona, to running accelerator programs, a rural development council, healthy local food systems, and entrepreneurship programs for small businesses. So we represent about 3,600 businesses across all of Arizona and always growing. My passion for this work is just driven behind building awareness of the equity needed for all communities through economic justice and development. And so I became executive director of Local First about a year and a half ago, and I'm continuing to charge on. So, yeah.
And do you work full time?
What do you mean by full time? Is that
Probably like
less
40
than
hours a
80
week.
hours a week?
Or it's double full time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And what are some of the projects that you're working on right now?
Many projects all the time. One is that we are launching a green business certification program for the state of Arizona right now. So we're working in a couple of cities to pilot the program. There currently isn't a certification program that exists for any businesses of any kind in the state, and so we are working with small businesses, mostly in the restaurant space right now, but we're looking to expand it as soon as we can prove the concept, to essentially perform an audit on everything they do and perform as a business, and then provide recommendations for how they can improve their carbon footprint and their waste and their overall environmental sustainability as a company. So we're looking at everything from water to carbon emissions to trash and recycling and composting to how employees commute to the business, and providing recommendations for those types of things. So that is a new program that we're trying to get off the ground right now. Another project we're working on is we're launching our second annual Arizona Good Business Summit in January. That is an annual conference that brings out about 600 business and community leaders to downtown Phoenix. We are fortunate to bring a keynote speaker this January. Her name is Kat Taylor. She is the co-founder of Beneficial State Bank out of Oregon. And really the focus of that concept of that event is to push conversations forward about and center businesses and lift up stories about businesses that are actually doing good in the community, not just focused on profits. We know that businesses have to make a profit to stay in business, but we're introducing new ideas and strategies on how we can center community as a stakeholder in business, rather than just giving charitably or volunteerism, which tends to be the definition of corporate social responsibility. And what we see in large spectrums internationally is that most corporations use that as a catalyst to maintain systems rather than change them. So in Arizona specifically, we're working with a lot of local leaders to not only raise businesses that are doing great things, but to challenge more businesses to be better and good. And so we're really excited about that too. Yeah, so we're in the planning stages of that.
Oh, that's excellent. And then what is that beneficial state bank that you mentioned? Can you tell us
Yeah,
about it?
Beneficial State Bank is a bank. They're a benefit corporation bank. They have 8 locations, I believe, in Oregon, Northern California, and Washington. So if you would look at the entire spectrum of the financial industry, they have a very, very small sliver of the market. However, they've been able to show proof that you can be a bank focused on the new economy, so sustainability, investing in underserved communities, minority entrepreneurship, all of those things, and still be successful. And so CAT is pushing the conversation forward in a very aggressive way across the country about the corruption in the financial industry and showcasing a proof of concept that you do not need to be corrupt to run a bank, but that most banks are that way. So we're bringing her out to raise awareness about those issues, to raise awareness that Arizona only has 13 local banks left in our state. We've become pretty aggressive ourselves about trying to get more people to move their money out of large financial institutions and into local and community banks and credit unions in Arizona. In the past 6 years, we've been able to increase the number of dollars deposited in local banks by about 6% in the state. So residents, municipalities, businesses across the spectrum, anybody that's in Arizona or institution that's here. So it's a big concept and idea for us and something that is very important. So
That's amazing. There were 14,000 banks in the U.S. back in 1970s, and the share was evenly distributed. Now there are only 5 banks that have the same share, which is staggering.
Yeah, it's disheartening.
Yeah, and then structurally,
I didn't know that number, but so in our state alone, today 91.75% of Arizona dollars are deposited into banks that are not in Arizona or headquartered in Arizona. We have 8 counties in Arizona that do not have a local or community bank with any footprint in them. And of that 91.75%, 72% of it is placed into the 3 largest banks, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Those 3 banks, as you probably know, I'm probably preaching to the choir, their average loan that they will give to a business is over $2.5 million. Most small businesses need somewhere between $50,000 to $350,000 in loans. So if they walk into one of those banks, they're unable to create a relationship, and they get marked on a piece of paper that can get sent to an underwriter that's very far away and tend to not get loans. So we see that the community banks are essential, a piece of the puzzle, not the answer to the problem, but a piece to the puzzle in creating more wealth in local economies, because they are able to be in communities and create relationships with the businesses that are there and are more likely and do lend more to businesses that are small. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. I actually used to work for Bank of America in New York as a small business specialist, and the bank itself is not structurally designed for small business loans.
Sure.
And that's a problem because most of the deposits that they're taking, instead of loaning out to small businesses, they're just used for trading, and that does not help local economies.
Right.